You've tried everything, and somehow you still feel like something's off every time you catch your reflection. That flat spot at the crown, that tired shape you have worn for years, none of that is your age talking. Let's fix this together. Because your natural elegance deserves so much better than the haircut you have settled for. I research worst style and beauty mistakes and youth-boosting fixes for mature women, so you get simple, proven transformations that work instantly. Today we're perfecting 5 haircuts every woman over 60 should stop wearing immediately. And by part 3 you'll want to pause and look in the mirror. I mean it. We are covering every part of your head, from the crown to the ends, and one specific swap that stylists rarely mention. And the very first haircut? I see it on almost every woman who walks into a salon feeling invisible. Let's go. 1. The blunt chin length bob. You spent 20 minutes on this haircut today and something still looks off, doesn't it? That safe chin length bob you've been wearing for a decade is not actually safe. It sits right at the widest point of most jawlines and draws the eye straight to every soft edge you would rather soften instead of spotlight. This one thing is doing more damage than you realize. Here is the surprising part. Stylists keep recommending this cut because it is fast, familiar, and easy to execute. Not because it is right for a face that has changed shape over the decades. Your face is not the same face it was at 30, and your haircut needs to know that. So what actually works instead? First, ask your stylist for soft graduated layers around the jaw rather than one hard blunt line. The graduation breaks up width instantly. Second, request a slight diagonal forward angle at the front pieces, because a straight across line ages you faster than almost any other single cut choice. Third, ask for internal layering underneath the top layer, invisible from the outside but doing the real lifting work. Fourth, keep at least a ½ inch of extra length at the very front. Those pieces frame and soften rather than chop straight across your jaw. And fifth, talk to your colorist about a subtle low light right along that jawline. Because shadow and light do more sculpting than scissors alone ever could. If you are still asking for just a trim, same as always, swap that request for soften the line and add movement through the ends. The difference is immediate. Also swap a completely flat blow dry for a round brush finish that lifts slightly away from the jaw. This one is everything. Maintenance is simple here. Get the shape refreshed every 6 to 8 weeks so the graduation never grows out into that hard blunt line again. Honestly, I wish someone had pulled me aside years ago and told me that a chin bob is not one haircut, it is dozens of haircuts, and only a few of them actually work for a mature face. There is one detail that changes whether this cut lifts you or ages you by a decade. And it has nothing to do with length at all, it is entirely about where the weight sits. That detail is exactly what haircut mistake number 2 is built on, and it might be sitting on your head right now without you even noticing. 2. The over-layered shag with no shape. Have you ever wondered why your layers look great fresh from the salon and completely shapeless by day 3? The over-layered shag with no underlying structure is one of the most common mistakes I see on women over 60. It looks textured and youthful in photos, but without a strong perimeter shape underneath, it collapses into fluff with zero definition by the second wash. Here is the truth nobody tells you. Too many layers without a guiding shape removes the very weight your hair needs to hang with intention. Fine or thinning hair especially cannot hold a shape when every single layer is cut the same short length. 5 fixes actually rebuild this. Start by asking for a defined perimeter line first, then layers cut on top of that foundation rather than instead of it. Structure has to come before texture. Next, request longer layers concentrated through the crown only, since that is where most volume loss happens after 60, while keeping length at the sides for framing. Third fix, and this one surprises people, fewer layers not more once your hair thins past a certain point because too much layering on fine hair actually looks thinner, not fuller. Fourth, ask for point cutting instead of blunt layer cutting, which softens ends without stripping away the weight that gives shape. And fifth, a texturizing treatment at the mid-lengths only, never the roots, keeps movement without sacrificing the crown volume you worked so hard to build. If you are still asking your stylist for lots of layers, make it choppy. Swap that for shape first, then add texture where I need movement. Also swap heavy layering throughout for weight left intentionally at the ends. Yes, that's simple. Maintenance tip. A light weekly deep conditioner at the mid-lengths keeps those remaining layers soft without weighing down your crown volume. You needed to hear this. Your hair is not too thin for a beautiful shape. It has just been cut like it has more density than it actually does. This next mistake hides in plain sight in almost every mature woman's bathroom mirror. And once you see it, you will never unsee it. 3. The severe pixie crop. This one is a bold truth, so let me just say it plainly. The severe, ultra-short pixie crop is quietly aging thousands of women who chopped it off expecting the opposite. The idea that women over 60 should automatically go short and stay short is outdated advice recycled from decades-old salon training. A pixie crop too tightly at the sides and back removes every bit of softness around your jaw and temples, the exact areas that benefit most from a little coverage. Here is the surprising insight. It is not the shortness itself that ages you. Plenty of short cuts look stunning at any age. It is the severity of the crop against the skin with nothing left to soften the transition from hair to face. 5 fixes bring this cut back to life. First, ask for slightly longer length at the sides. Enough to create a soft curve rather than a hard shave line against your cheekbone. Second, request a longer top section with movement, so you have styling versatility instead of one fixed shape every single day. Third, soft side swept fringe pieces at the temples add exactly the coverage that a severe crop removes, without adding real length anywhere else. Fourth fix. Texture, not shortness, is what reads as youthful. So ask your stylist to leave slightly more length through the crown for lift and movement. And fifth, a subtle undercut hidden beneath the top layer keeps the cool factor without the harshness against your skin. If your current request is keep it short and neat, swap that for short with softness at the temples and lift through the crown. Also swap a fully shaved side for a graduated taper that eases into the length above it. Your bone structure deserves a frame, not a blade. Maintenance here is easy. A light pomade worked through the top pieces daily keeps the movement alive without needing a full restyle every morning. I will be honest with you the way a good friend would. The severe pixie made me feel powerful in the salon chair and exposed the second I walked outside into daylight, and that gap between the two is exactly what we are fixing today. The fourth haircut on this list might be the one you are wearing in your profile picture right now, and it is worth a very close look. For the flat, unlayered long style. Let me describe a look you probably know too well. Long, straight, completely unlayered hair hanging with zero shape from root to end, the exact style you wore in your 30s and simply never updated. This flat unlayered length is not elegant restraint. It is one of the fastest ways to visually drag a mature face downward. Without internal shape, gravity wins, and gravity is not kind to any of us after 60. The key insight here surprises most women. It was never really about the length being wrong. Long hair on women over 60 can look absolutely stunning. It is the complete absence of layering and internal movement that creates the aging effect, not the inches themselves. 5 fixes restore the life this length is missing. Start with long face framing layers beginning at the cheekbone, which instantly lift the eye upward instead of letting it drag down the full length of flat hair. Next, internal layering hidden beneath the visible length adds movement without sacrificing any of the length you have worked years to grow. Third, a soft curtain fringe blended into the front layers opens up the eye area more than almost any other single change to a long style. Fourth fix, ask for a slight face framing curve rather than one straight blunt line at the ends, since a soft curve reads younger than a hard geometric cut every time. And fifth, subtle balayage concentrated at the face framing pieces creates dimension exactly where the eye lands first. There is one technique that changes how your entire face reads on camera, and it takes your colorist exactly 4 minutes to do. A few strategic face framing highlights, nothing more. If you are still requesting just trim the ends, keep it all one length. Swap that for add face framing layers, keep the overall length. Also swap a flat iron used on the whole length for one used only on the face framing pieces for definition. This is the one that made a friend of mine stop mid-conversation and ask what changed about my face. Maintenance tip. Face framing layers need a trim every 10 to 12 weeks to keep that lifted shape from growing out into flat length again. There is a fifth and final haircut on this list, and it is the one I get asked about more than any other single style in my comments section. 5. The overly teased stiff helmet style. Stand in front of your mirror right now and think honestly about how much hairspray it takes to get through your day. If the answer is more than I would like to admit, you are likely wearing the overly teased, heavily sprayed helmet style, big at the crown, stiff at the sides, and utterly immovable by noon. It reads as dated rather than polished, no matter how carefully it was styled that morning. Here is what almost nobody explains. Heavy teasing and heavy hairspray were the answer decades ago because styling tools were limited. Today, that same stiff silhouette signals stuck in the past instead of put together, even when the effort behind it was significant. 5 fixes bring softness back without losing the volume you actually want. First, swap heavy teasing at the roots for a volumizing mousse applied before blow drying, which builds lift without the stiff cemented texture. Second, ask your stylist for soft layers through the crown specifically, since layered hair holds natural volume without any backcombing required at all. Third, and this one is blunt, throw out the extra firm hold hairspray and replace it with a flexible hold formula that moves when you move. Fourth fix, a round brush used while blow drying creates lasting lift at the root that teasing can never replicate authentically. And fifth, loosen the finish style slightly with your fingers rather than a comb, because combing through teased hair flattens it right back down. Honestly, the stiffest styles I have ever seen were built by women trying hardest to look polished, and that effort deserved a softer, more modern result. If your routine still includes teasing the crown and locking it with extra firm spray, swap that for volumizing mousse plus a flexible hold finish. The difference shows the very first time you move your head. You needed to hear this too. Maintenance is refreshingly simple here. A dry shampoo at the roots every other morning maintains lift without ever needing to tease or spray again. You just spent this entire video learning exactly which 5 haircuts have been quietly aging you, and more importantly, exactly what to ask for instead. You just learned 5 haircuts that quietly age women over 60, and 5 exact fixes most stylists never explain clearly enough for you to actually ask for them by name. Boom, your bone structure was always this stunning. Now it shows. Tell me, which of these 5 haircuts were you wearing without realizing what it was doing to your whole face? Next time, we're tackling the one hair color mistake that adds 10 years faster than any haircut ever could. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.